we talked a little bit about this. How do you determine the best social media channels? Let's focus in on one of these. How should I focus in on one of these? How have you guys gone about focusing in on which one of these you use the most to generate ROI for your business? Anybody? Okay. So let's talk about that, your customer profile. How did you ascertain that customer profile and have this knowledge of where you ought to participate? You know what we did? We kind of asked everybody, who uses Twitter as their primary resource here in this room? And not a hand went up. Okay, probably not Twitter, I guess, right? If our clients are like us, and I think that's how businesses think, our clients are like us. And that's okay. That's a good starting point. And so who in here has chosen LinkedIn as their primary way of getting information out there? Okay. Who here has used Facebook as their primary means of getting information out there? What are other people using? YouTube. Who in here is using YouTube as the primary way of getting their message out there? Okay, so one. And your business is what? So, it's an exact match to your specific type of business. Very good. So a lot more hands with Facebook. And I think the nice thing about Facebook, if you were going to choose that as a primary, is it has more users than anybody else. On some days, it's the most visited website on the internet. It's growing exponentially. It's easy to use. You can post almost anything on there. You can make it long. You can make it short. There's a wall. You can participate very easily. You can upload things. You can link to things. And that's probably why most people would use that. I would think that most businesses in here, if they were going to choose one, probably would choose that, barring special needs. Yes?
So when you say Facebook, are you talking about your business page?
I'm totally talking about a business page. Yes, the entire premise I'm operating, business.
You're talking B2B as opposed to B2C?
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Okay, so B2C or B2B, how would that influence this decision? Anybody?
I wouldn't be on Facebook. C. If
I'm
B2B, I'm sorry.
You'd be on LinkedIn for B2B?
I mean, first, at least.
Okay, all right. So LinkedIn, who else would be on LinkedIn for B2B? Okay, so half the people, more than half the people in the room would say, hey, LinkedIn's more important for B2B communications. Tell me about the interactivity on LinkedIn that would benefit that. Do business leaders go to LinkedIn and they seek out business opportunities? Can somebody share a story with me that they've gotten a business opportunity from LinkedIn searches? Yes.
I can't share a story, but somebody told me that you can now do a business page on LinkedIn. And I haven't found anything about that yet.
Do you want to comment on that, Mike?
Well, yeah, I have. Sure. I'll step up here so people can have to crane their necks. But yeah, there's a company page on LinkedIn. You should go get one. It doesn't cost anything. It's so it'd be linkedin.com/company/ the name of your company. I just say your company name, not the name of your company. It's another channel to have. Certain requirements you have to do, but you should kind of do this anyway. You have to have an email address that's your domain, right? You can't go get a company page with a hotmail.com or a gmail.com email address. And you can't, it has not been tied into Hootsuite or any of these dashboard tools except in beta yet. So you can't auto-post to it, that's right. You have to go make an extra choice too, but neither has Google+. I mean, all these things are going to develop and change as we go forward.
It has to be tied to your personal profile, right?
Yes.
Your personal LinkedIn.
You have to have.
It used to be like that. They disengaged that and probably there's no LinkedIn.
That's right. So you're gonna these things change. And whatever we talk about this morning is gonna be a little different by this afternoon with the way these things change. But I don't know that I really like the premise, or I heard, is whether it's an either-or choice. Do I do LinkedIn for B2B or I do Facebook for B2B? We've got success stories. I'm working on a case study right now about B2B success stories on Facebook. Relationship building is among people, whether you're doing it as a business or a person. And Facebook has functionality in there where you can go surf it and act as your page. And we do plenty of this, where our clients and go build relationships business to business through business page interaction on Facebook. You gain exposure for your business to their customers, and you demonstrate that there's this proper relationship between your companies. And there's all kinds of tactical opportunities to go build your brand and show what kind of business you are that just aren't there on LinkedIn.
That's kind of the point I was making, because I think this is true, and I thought I'd ask. We've had a lot more success, and we're obviously B2B. I don't build web pages for Nancy. It's for this company or that company. But it seems to me that Facebook allows more of that interaction and more of that getting to know each other and more of that relationship building, where LinkedIn is more like an ad. I've had more success interacting with individuals on Facebook within companies that I want to do business with, but this doesn't mean that that's right. We're having a conversation here. So I wanted to kind of ask people, what they've seen on now people have emailed me and said, I'm looking for an application development company. Do you guys do that? And they've done it through LinkedIn. But I've not gotten that, hey, let's get to know each other and let's communicate on an ongoing basis and build community around my brand in LinkedIn. And I guess I'd like some comments about that.
Well, I just wanted to mention I'm a social media consultant. I'm going to turn around. So one of the companies that I work with is an IT company, and they're serious. They don't really believe in the feel-good social media part, so they hired me to do everything for them. But basically, they leverage LinkedIn to do the B2B relationship building. And so they have me customize the messages on LinkedIn to have that professional feel that they want to communicate with their the people that they connect with on LinkedIn. And then Facebook, it's more about the company family. So that's where the B2, I guess, C is, where they have the company's staff on there, and that's where they interact and build relationships with their staff. So it's more, you just have to customize everything. Facebook and, Hootsuite is awesome. I use Hootsuite all the time, but at the same time, you have to be really careful about using Hootsuite to post the same message to all of your platforms. Because, for example, Facebook, posts on Facebook that are posted through Hootsuite have lesser engagement rating. So just so you know that.
So anybody that's using LinkedIn who would say LinkedIn for business can anybody share dialogues they've had and how that interaction has been, engaging and community building and relationship building? We'll go here next.
Yeah, I was just actually going to go back to the previous question. And as a realtor, I don't really distinguish between B2B, B2C. Doesn't really, everybody's a buyer.
Because B2B is B2C,
Yeah,
I guess.
same thing.
I guess
Yeah, so really,
in my mind to some
doesn't
degree.
matter. I just find LinkedIn a real sterile environment. I feel like I'm going to the doctor's office for an exam. Yeah,
Let's go
Facebook
over
is
here
more
and see
engaging.
if yeah. I'm just looking for conversations and examples of things where people have had good success on LinkedIn back and forth.
Well, I teach college for a living as well as write ebooks, and so I spend most of my time in groups talking with colleagues across the country on different topics.
In LinkedIn groups.
And in LinkedIn groups.
Yeah.
And where I would never find them on Facebook, because I can categorize and go right to them, and then if we want to further the conversation, then we go through the email or and make it more personal beyond that.
So I'm going to jump in there. So if you're going to use LinkedIn as the primary tool, you can place your profile, but then maybe create some sort of a group where you're drawing people in to where that interaction can occur. And that's how you would get that going for sure, right? And participating in the groups in LinkedIn and saying the professionals are on here, but my point is, how do we engage? And whatever tool I think you're using, you want to engage as much as possible. Were you going to say groups as well? No? We need more microphones or faster people.
Faster people. No, I was going to say groups, but also you're talking about engaging. I use LinkedIn because I'm a career coach.
Yes.
And LinkedIn is a fabulous tool if you're job hunting. And so that's what a lot of people are doing on LinkedIn. I put out a lot, my Twitter is connected to my LinkedIn, so there's a lot of feeds going out. And what I find is people see me, and when they need me, they remember me because of the things that are going out on LinkedIn. And so I'll be sitting there working and get an email from someone through LinkedIn asking about my services. So it's been great at getting me out nationally.
Yeah. And without starting a whole conversation about this, LinkedIn is completely replacing job boards out there, Monster and all these other things, and LinkedIn is becoming the mecca for employment and how these things get done, for sure.
You know, I find this very interesting is my profile best fits LinkedIn people.
You bet.
Now, I have probably met at least 5 people in this room through LinkedIn that said, let's meet, including the little gal on the end here.
Uh-huh.
And even though I just now realized that I've met more members off of LinkedIn than I have with Facebook, and I think I've got a pretty dynamic business page because I talk about all the neat restaurants that are around. But my business is Dinner for Six, Adventuresome Dinners for Single Professionals. But again, I get more stuff from, so I got to go back to LinkedIn.
So yeah, LinkedIn, great place, I think, to be found and search and locate professionals, and groups, good place to interact. So wonderful. I'm glad you brought that up. Certainly job looking and that sort of a thing. And then yeah, where is my demographic? But then I do think you have to say, how am I going to interact with them? I'm either going to meet them, or I'm going to get them in a group, or I'm going to do something. Go ahead.
That was going to be my next comment. You started to say something to the effect of finding your customer profile. And I wanted to know what everybody's finding is the best ways to find their customer profile.
We're going to talk about that in another session too. All right, I guess I want to move on to what tools do people use to listen out there? We talked about RSS feeds. A lot of people use that. Google Alerts, we talked about that. Other tools that people use to listen. Jeff?
I don't want to get ahead of what you were trying to ask here, but I had kind of a quick question pop into my head relating to Google, where I bring everything in, all my RSS feeds and all that kind of good stuff. And I find every once in a while it's like all my settings disappear.
Your Google Alerts.
I guess. I'm not sure. It's like it's all there, it's all working, I'm getting all kinds of great information. And then every once in a while something happens, and like, what the hell happened? Does anybody know about this? Does something happen or reset or wipe you out? Or
anybody else have that happen? Yes. Okay, so moving on now. I have no idea why that would happen.
I mean, 1 minute iGoogle's working and it's there. Every time I go to Google, and next minute, I don't know. Like I said, it's like something happens and settings get goofed up, and I don't know what I did. Well, I know Google's been changing some things, and that could be it too. And so anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt that, but it doesn't work.
Well, I would say if a third of the people had it happen, somebody would have an answer, and I've yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. Social mention, you've had your settings disappear. You know, we are living on computers, and they do funny things sometimes. Very odd. I don't want to skip past them. I just don't know where to go with it.
Sure. We use a variety of, yes, I've had my Google Alerts settings reset as well. I think it must be an algorithm, but we use Social Mention, Hootsuite, Google Alerts, RSS feed, and we monitor some forums, and that's how we get a lot of our information coming in.
How do you monitor forums?
We have major participation from some of our employees in 2 of the forums where our clients participate. And so we have a big presence there. And
Manually, you monitor.
manually.
Right,
It
okay.
is enough of an ROI for us to participate live in some of these forums.
Very good, very good. Other ideas. Hootsuite is great for publishing. How many people use Hootsuite for most of their managing of social media? Few people. Sendable is another tool that you might use for your posting. For publishing, Sendable. I've never looked at that.
A great way to find out what others are saying about in your industry is to look on Google+. First, sign up for it, but then you can search within Google+ and find out what people are saying about your field. It's a new way to find stuff.
Very good. All right, we're going to break into our tips group. I'm going to have Mike come up. Thank you, everybody, for your input today.